Good morning, sir. Thank you for giving us a chance to present our present project today. First of all, let me introduce my group members. My name is MD Imtiaz Habib Khan. I will be presenting the use case diagram of the project, and then Mr. Siamul Bari will be presenting the class diagram of the project, and Mehdi Hassan Jamil will be presenting the sequence diagram of the project, and Mr. Imtunka Simon will be presenting the state chart diagram of the project, and lastly, OP Odhikari will be presenting the activity diagram of the project. Now I want to give an overview of our project. Our project is distant healthcare system. Distant healthcare system means anything and everything that can be delivered without meeting medical personnel physically. As we know that we are passing through tough times during COVID-19, we have witnessed a severe disaster in healthcare sector. We have seen that some online healthcare services are contributing significantly in abroad. But for our country, we have designed an application for distant medical service. This service will help patients find doctors near their locations and connect with them instantly. Users can call for emergency medical response and assistance through this mobile application. Our goal is to ensure proper health care and connects people who need emergency responses with medical personnel. Now, let me explain my part, which is the use case diagram of the system. A use case diagram is a representation of a user's interaction with the systems that shows the relationship between the user and the different use cases. We use use case diagram to capture the main functionalities of a system and visualize the interaction of various actors with the use cases. In our design system, a patient or a doctor has to log in by verification. If the user does not have any account, then he or she can log in to the system after creating an account. A patient can find doctor by selecting preference and setting up the desired location. In the case of selecting preference, patient will be provided with two options, which is video conference and consultation. A patient can also order medicine using the system by selecting any of the two payment methods, which is cash on delivery and mobile banking. As for doctor, after logging in, doctor can set his or her availability by confirming appointments and setting consulting hours. If the doctor doesn't have any account, the doctor has to create an account like any other user. During checkup, a doctor must check records of the patient. A patient also can check his or her records. After all that, the session will be over. Now, my next group member, Mr. Siamul Bari Abir, will be presenting the class diagram of our project. Mr. Siamul Bari, the floor is yours.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. This is Yamul Bari Abir. Our first presenter just now describing the Q's diagram. Now I'm presenting my portion of the project, which is the class diagram. Uh, Class diagram is a static structure diagram that describes the structure of a project by showing systems classes, their attributes, operations, and the relationship among objects. Class diagrams are the most important part of a UML diagram and vitally important in a software development. Software development. Class diagram are the best way to illustrate a system structure in a detailed way, showing its attributes, operation, as well as its interrelationships. Next slide, please. Uh, so our project is the distant healthcare systems. This project consists of 5 classes with some attributes and methods, and the classes are system, doctor, patients, medicines, and preferences. Every class has setter, and getter methods. First, here the system class consists 3 attributes, which are user, password, and availability, and consists 3 setter getter method. Also, the doctor class has 3 attributes and methods. Here is an aggregation relationship between the system and the doctor. And a system can have one or more can one or more doctors, but doctors can be part of only one system. And then there is another aggregation relationship between system and the patient class, which consists all the attributes of the system class and also payment methods as an attributes. Again, a patient can be a part of only one system, but the system can have zero or many patients. Uh, there is another class called preference, which has some attributes and operations. Parents must have one preference, but a preference can be selected by one or more patients. It means a patient can consult with many doctors and vice versa. Uh, and there is an aggregation relationship between medicine and the patients. A medicine can be bought by none or many patients. Also, a patient can buy many medicines or none. Uh, and the last relationship is between the system and the medicine. A system can have zero or more medicine, but the medicine has only one system. Uh, this all I have to say. Now our next presenter will continue our presentation. Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you, Siamul Bari. Myself, Mohammad Mehdi Hassan Jamil, and I am going to present the sequence diagram for part of this presentation. So, first of all, what is sequence diagram? Sequence diagram captures the interaction between objects and actor, context of collaboration. Then, what is the uses of sequence diagram? The sequence diagram describe how and in what order a group of objects works together. In our sequence diagram, there are two objects and two actors, as you can see. Please next slide. Hello. Uh, in our sequence diagram, there are two objects and two actors, as you can see. The actors are patient and doctor, and the other objects are systems and the database. Then we can see the dotted line, which are called the lifeline of object, and then we can see the message passing through or sending one lifeline to another object or lifeline to another line by object straight line. When object are written to the message line is dotted message to line is dotted line. The alternative frame are used for two or more messages sequence choice, like whether if there is a thing is valid or else is used for is not invalid. In our sequence diagram, first we use alternative frame for patient to log in the system. The system first check whether the patient have any previous account or not. If yes, then verify the account, then log in, and if there is no previous account, then the system will tell them to make or create an account. Then verify it to log in, and after login, the patient requests to doctor for a preference. Then doctor replies the message for selecting preference option. Then the patient select the preference, then go to the system. The system send message to the database to check whether the doctor is available or not. Then the database reply to the system that the doctor is available, and then the system generate a patient's preference and time, return to the available time to the system. The system then send the reply message to the patient to notify the available time of the doctor. Then the patient send message to the system to confirm, and system notifies the doctor by sending messages. For the doctor, the same logging process like patient. The doctor check up the patient and prescribing the patient. The patient asks for the request for medicine to the system. The system checks the availability of medicine in the database. The database send a reply message to the medicine is available to the system. Then the system asks for patient to select the payment method. Then the system generates the payment method. Okay, that's how our sequence diagram works. Now like to call my next group member in Lucas for presenting state chart diagram. Thank you.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Mehdi Hassan. My previous presenters are described use case diagram, class diagram, and sequence diagram. Now I describe structure diagram. What is structure diagram? Structure diagram is one of the 5 UML diagrams used to model the dynamic nature of a system. They define different state of an object during its lifetime, and the states are changed by events. Structure diagrams are useful to model the reactive system. Uses of a structure diagram. The primary purpose of a structure diagram is to model interactive system and define each and every state of an object. A structure diagram are describing to capture the dynamic behavior of an application system. And real-time system is expected to be reacted by some kind of internal or external events. The events are responsible for state change of the system. A structure diagram is used to represent the event-driven state change of a system. It basically describe the state sense of a class, interface, etc. A structure diagram is used to visualize the reaction of a system by internal or external factor. Please slide sense. Here is the structure diagram of distant healthcare system. Here object is patient. The diagram initial state. At first patient object is initial created when a patient required emergency medicine service. Then when the choose to have an online consultation, they become requested. Then when the doctors responds to them and consult with them, they begin being consulted. If their request is not answered within 20 minutes, they become on hold. If an on hold patient is available, consult with a doctor, then become being consulted. After consulting is done, they become assessed. So is this way we have discussed that in case of distant healthcare system, how the structure diagram can be formed. I will pass the time now the next presenter, Opi Adhikari, to explain active diagram.
Thank you, Imrul Kais. Hello everyone, I am Opyodhikari. Now I am presenting the activity diagram. Activity diagram are the object-oriented equivalent of flowcharts and data flow diagrams from structured development. Activity diagram describe the workflow behavior of a system. The process flows in the system are captured in the activity diagram. Activity diagram are used to explore the logic of a complex operation, a single use case, several use cases, a business process, software processor, etc. It is useful for showing workflow and parallel processing. An activity diagram consists of a collection of action states, sub-activities, and transitions. Every activity diagram must have only one initial node and one or more final nodes. The initial state represents the beginning of the activity, and final states represent the termination of an activity. Actions are represented by action states. Next slide, please. In the diagram, we can see that an user attempts to log into the system. If the login is successful, then the system decides if the account is for patient or doctor. If the login is failed, then the system wants the user to create an account. If the user is patient, he or she gets to select preference and request for a doctor or record field. If the doctor is selected, preference are unavailable, then the system notifies the patient and wants him or her to request for a doctor. Then the patient gets to confirm the appointment, and after that he or she does the checkup. After finishing the checkup, patient upload the medical record into the server and then buys medicine by selecting and confirming the payment method. If the payment process is unsuccessful, system wants the patient to do those steps again. If the user is a doctor, then he or she gets the appointment from the system. By following scheduled appointment, the doctor checks up all the patients one by one and prescribe them. That's how our activity diagram works. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. That's all our project. If anyone has any question, please feel free to ask. Thank you, sir.
Anyone have any question? Please ask them.